In the heart of Buda, a crowd holds its breath. It's March 16th, 1457, and on a wooden scaffold in St. George's Square stands a young nobleman, the heir to the most celebrated name in all of Hungary. This is Hunyadi László, son of a hero, brother of a future king, and a man who was promised a royal pardon. The executioner raises his axe. He swings, but the blow isn't clean. He swings a second and then a third time. Still, László lives. Legend says he rose to his feet, wounded but defiant, declaring that heaven itself had proven his innocence. But there would be no divine intervention that day. How did it come to this? How did the son of János Hunyadi, the Savoy of Belgrade, end up on the executioner's block, betrayed by his own king? And how did this single brutal act ignite a civil war and set the stage for one of Europe's most legendary rulers? This is the story of a sacred promise broken, a family shattered, and a kingdom changed forever. To understand László's tragedy, you have to start with the towering legacy of his father, János Hunyadi. In the mid-15th century, the Kingdom of Hungary was the bulwark of Christendom, the last major line of defense against the relentless expansion of the Ottoman Empire, and no name struck more fear into Ottoman hearts than Hunyadi. János was a brilliant commander, a regent who governed the kingdom, and a national hero. His defining moment came in 1456 at the Siege of Belgrade. He led a battered, outnumbered force against the full might of Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror, the man who had taken Constantinople just 3 years earlier. Against all odds, Hunyadi's forces smashed the Ottoman army, a victory so profound its anniversary is still commemorated by the ringing of church bells at noon across the Christian world. But this triumph came at a devastating cost. Weeks after the battle, plague swept through the Hungarian camp, and János Hunyadi, the hero of Belgrade, was dead. His sudden death in August 1456 left a dangerous power vacuum. He left behind 2 sons, the elder, László, a seasoned warrior himself, and the younger, a shrewd and educated teenager named Matthias. Together, they inherited their father's immense estates, his vast political influence, and command of the crucial southern fortresses. They also inherited their father's enemies. Chief among them was Ulrich of Celje, a powerful count who was both cousin and chief advisor to the young king of Hungary, Ladislaus V. Known as Ladislaus the Posthumous, the king was only 16, easily manipulated, and deeply resentful of the Hunyadi family's power. Ulrich of Celje saw his chance. With János gone, he whispered in the king's ear, plotting to dismantle the Hunyadi legacy and seize their power for himself. A clash was brewing, not with a foreign invader, but from within the heart of the kingdom itself. In the autumn of 1456, King Ladislaus and his mentor, Ulrich of Celje, traveled south to Belgrade. Their official reason was to inspect the defenses. Their real goal was to force Hunyadi László to surrender the fortress and all other royal castles his family controlled. Celje had an even darker plan. He intended to have László assassinated within the very walls his father had so famously defended. But Hunyadi László was his father's son. He'd been warned of the plot. In a daring and fateful move, he played along. He welcomed King Ladislaus and Ulrich of Celje into the fortress, but refused entry to their army of mercenaries. Suddenly, the 2 most powerful men in the kingdom were inside his stronghold, cut off from their guards. On the morning of November 9th, 1456, Ulrich confronted László in a private chamber. Accounts differ on who drew their weapon first, but the outcome is undisputed. Hearing the clash of steel, László's men burst into the room. Ulrich of Celje, the king's powerful uncle and regent of Hungary, was cut down and killed. The young king was now a hostage. Terrified with his mentor dead at his feet, Ladislaus was forced to agree to László's terms. He named László captain general of the kingdom and, most importantly, swore a holy oath that he would grant him a full pardon and never seek revenge for Ulrich's death. To prove his sincerity, he even appointed László as Lord Treasurer. Trusting the king's sacred vow, László released him. It was a fatal mistake. Once back in the safety of his capital, Buda, surrounded by his own loyalists, King Ladislaus's promises went sour. The barons, who had allied with the slain Ulrich of Celje, were furious and saw the Hunyadis as a threat to their own power. They pressured the young king, convincing him that vengeance was not only justified but necessary. Rumors were deliberately spread that Hunyadi László was plotting to seize the throne for himself. In March of 1457, the trap was sprung. King Ladislaus publicly reaffirmed his oath and invited Hunyadi László and his younger brother Matthias to the royal court in Buda, assuring them of their safety. It was a calculated lie designed to lure the brothers away from their strongholds. Ignoring his father's deathbed, warning to never be in the same place as the king at the same time, László accepted the invitation. On March 14, 1457, László and Matthias arrived at Buda Castle. They were immediately arrested. A royal council, stacked with their enemies, was hastily convened. Acting as a court-martial, they found Hunyadi László guilty of treason and murdering Ulrich of Celje. The verdict was a foregone conclusion. The sentence was death. There were no legal formalities, just swift political revenge. Just 2 days later, on March 16th, László was led to St. George's Square to be beheaded. His execution was meant to be a brutal display of royal power, a message that the Hunyadi faction was finished. The king's false pardon was complete. The betrayal was absolute. But the consequences of this act would spiral far beyond anything the king could have imagined. The execution of Hunyadi László didn't crush his family's supporters. It enraged them. His death was seen not as justice, but as a vile act of perjury by the king. An open civil war erupted. The Hunyadi faction, now led by László's mother, Elizabeth Szilágyi, and her formidable brother, Michael Szilágyi, rose in rebellion. The country descended into chaos. Panicked by the uprising he'd unleashed, King Ladislaus fled Hungary for Prague. He took the 14-year-old Matthias Hunyadi with him as a hostage. But fate had one last shocking twist in store. In November 1457, just 8 months after ordering László's execution, the 17-year-old King Ladislaus V died suddenly. While rumors at the time screamed poison, modern analysis of his remains suggests he likely died of leukemia. With the king dead and no direct heir, the throne of Hungary was vacant. The powerful barons scrambled to put forward their own candidates. But Michael Szilágyi saw his moment. He marched to the Diet, the Hungarian assembly of nobles, with 15,000 soldiers at his back, an intimidating show of force that quickly settled the debate. On January 24, 1458, the nobles gathered on the frozen Danube River and, in a stunning turn of events, unanimously elected the boy held captive in Prague as their new king. For the first time in its history, a member of the nobility with no royal blood was chosen to wear the Holy Crown of Hungary. Matthias was ransomed from Prague and returned to Hungary not as a prisoner, but as its sovereign. He was only 14 years old. The Hunyadi saga is one of those incredible true stories that feels like it's straight out of fiction, filled with heroism, betrayal, and unbelievable reversals of fortune. If you enjoy diving into the dramatic politics and epic battles that shaped our world, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more stories like this. And let us know in the comments, do you think Hunyadi László was a traitor or the victim of a political conspiracy? The execution of Hunyadi László was a brutal, tragic event, born from the fear and jealousy of lesser men. The king and his council believed that by killing the son, they could erase the father's legacy. They were wrong. Instead of ending the Hunyadi era, they inadvertently began its most glorious chapter. The memory of his brother's betrayal would shadow Matthias for his entire life, fueling a deep-seated distrust of the powerful barons who had condemned László. This experience forged the ruler he would become, Matthias Corvinus, one of the greatest kings in Hungarian history. He would go on to create the legendary Black Army, a professional standing mercenary force, and usher in a golden age of Renaissance culture and learning. The story is a powerful reminder of how a single act of treachery can alter the course of a nation. The false pardon given to Hunyadi László was meant to be an ending. Instead, it was the bloody dawn of a new age, paving the way for his younger brother to rise from a prison cell and claim a crown, forever changing the destiny of Hungary.